Recently, Bookmark stopped by the Catholic Marketing Network and got a chance to catch up with various authors in attendance. We hope you enjoy this interview. And stopping by here at the Ewtn Bookmark booth at the CMN is a representative from Magnificat, and you are?
My name is Donna Ross, and I happen to be the coordinator of our Central Service Team for Magnificat, a ministry to Catholic women.
Right.
So it's delightful to be here. Thank you, Doug.
Now, sometimes it's confusion because people know about the Magnificat magazine, and then there's also your organization.
Yeah.
They're related in some ways, but different, right?
That's so true. Very well put. Actually, years ago, the magazine had talked with our ministry, which was founded in 1981, and they had wanted to know about the use of the Magnificat name, which our ministry had a trademark and registration on. And so as it turned out, there was an agreement made because our ministry felt that they had a very nice quality product. And so there was, shall we say, a little partnership there of sorts. And so we gave them permission to use our name in the early years, and that continues.
So what was the inspiration behind the organization that you're in?
As far as the Magnificat ministry, years ago, basically a number of women were getting together in prayer groups. Very early on, the whole charismatic renewal at that time was very popular, and prayer groups were all over. And our ministry was really founded in the New Orleans area. And
Father Harold Cohen,
Father Howard, absolutely, wonderful man. And so there were a lot of prayer groups, I mean like 40. And so these ladies were meeting and such, and then they decided that, you know, it'd be nice to get together and really be able to share our faith and such. So they decided to have a potluck. And lo and behold, out of this potluck, there was about 200 women that showed up. And now, 42 years later, come October, it has not only grown domestically here in the States, but we're an international ministry. We have formed over 100 chapters internationally, and it's all the Holy Spirit. He's the best marketer out there.
So what is it, if you're, is it something you join or something you participate in? How does one become involved with Magnificat, let's say, as a woman in a particular, let's say in Birmingham, they were interested in it?
Sure. Well, basically what happened was, as they had these chapters, the first potluck, and then others wanted it to come to their area. And so that's really what did happen. They got a hold of the people that started it in New Orleans, and it's just kind of that osmosis as it spread out. We have a process to start chapters. These chapters are basically local communities, and they find out, you know, what do we need to do, and we have a 10-step process. And it's we're para-liturgical, private association of the Christian faithful. We fall under the jurisdiction of the local ordinaries and such. It's a very beautiful ministry that enables people. Quarterly is kind of the format for these chapters. And they come together around a meal, which is usually a breakfast or a lunch. And someone comes in, normally a woman, to share her testimony.
As a speaker, let's say.
How God has, has God has touched their lives, and how powerfully usually. And then it's in a very social environment. And the reason I stress that to a point is that the people that Magnificat attracts are across the board, very diverse. Some have been away from their faith, some aren't even Catholic. And then there's the very devout who's probably on their way to canonization. You know, you've got the whole spectrum. But they come together in an environment that really allows the Holy Spirit to touch their hearts.
Now, we do a book show here, and some of the material that we have here that you gave me here are something called Magnificat Proclaims. And now there's 4 different titles I've got in front of me. One of them, I guess, is in Spanish.
Correct.
So now these all collections of various testimonies. One is powerful testimonies, another one is clergy testimonies, and the other one is testimonies of God's grace in our lives.
They're all testimonies. And what's happened was...
Of the people who are members over the years and stuff?
They are all speakers who have been at a Magnificat meal to share their testimony. And the Lord really placed it on our heart, you know, in our prayer and our discernment and discussions and what have you, that people could only really participate in those testimonies if they went to a meal. But they were so good, really touched a lot of hearts. And so the idea was, let's put them in a book so it'd have a broader distribution. So the first book is 19 women, all women. Again, they've shared their testimony in a chapter someplace in the world, literally. The second one, all clergy.
Right.
People like Father Raniero Cantalamessa, the
Right.
Pope's preacher,
Right.
now Cardinal, obviously. Anyway, it's a great book. In fact, seminaries have really enjoyed that.
Oh.
Because these guys have gone through a lot. They're human, you know, and so to share their testimony, and they still have maintained either their road to the priesthood or during the priesthood, and some of the challenges that come along. And then the last one is a mix. It's clergy, it's religious, and laity. So we have the three, kind of a chicken soup for the soul, if you will.
Right, and you also have a version of that, one of them in Spanish,
And the
right?
very first one we have had translated in Spanish, yes. And I guess we'll have to wait and see if someone else is inspired to translate the others in Spanish as well, exactly.
Okay.
So they've been really, really well received because there's such a diverse, what should I say, testimonial, there's something that's going to apply to someone out there.
Right.
So diverse.
So the ones that are in these books, which is the one that affected you the most?
Tricky question, Doug. Well, to be honest with you, one of the testimonies in there is my own. And I don't know that I can say that I'm probably amazed by anyone's more than my own, because I would never have imagined that I'd be sitting here talking to you, Doug, for one. I was born and raised a Catholic, it's the old cradle Catholic.
Right.
And then I'm just going to say, when I went to college, at the time in Enlightenment, I was enlightened.
Right. You and everybody else.
Me and everyone else, you got it. And I was away for a number of years. And then there was a point where the Lord, I think, had enough of my shenanigans. And thank God he did. And so in his mercy, he called me back. And I just, shall we say, I have a new appreciation for the church, which I'm very grateful, eternally grateful, I'm sure.
That's right. That's why it's the Eternal Word Television Network.
You got it.
Now, let me ask you, in our closing minutes, you've got something sitting on your lap now.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me about what that is? It looks like I don't know, is that a VHS tape or what is that?
Well,
exactly?
I tell you what, I think God has really asked us to kind of think outside the box a little bit more, like everyone, especially in the last few years. But what happened is one of our gals in Magnificat, tremendous holy woman, and she was inspired to do a Bible study. And so that's exactly what I'm sitting here with, and so thank you for allowing me to even show this. This first one was called Woman Called by Name. For such a time as this. And of course, our whole ministry is based on the visitation of Mary and Elizabeth and that whole joy that came out of that. So this series is a facilitator book, and what I love about this is that not only does it have the questions for a Bible study, but it has the answers.
Okay.
So
That's
you don't have
always
to,
good to have the answer.
It has the answer, and it has the imprimatur as well. So it's rock solid. It's not your opinion or my opinion or Joe Schmo's. It's the church teaching. So we really love this, and it's been a great program. And then what we have also, and I'm just going to kind of hold some of these up, there's a participant book, so the questions they can really reflect during the week of their study, however they design it. And then to make it, again, very user-friendly, we have DVDs here.
I see, okay.
For all the teachings. And so whether it be in a parish environment,
So are those video or audio?
They are DVDs, audio, video. Exactly.
Okay, so you get both.
So you get the both. When we first started out, it was audio.
Right.
And of course, people say, we want to see the people, so we did do that. And so these are the DVDs. And then today, it doesn't have to be with the Bible study, but we did the journal that went with the respective Bible study because Everyone likes to journal, it seems. They're very popular, we're finding, and just to reflect, and especially if they're doing a Bible study. So this is kind of a little set, if you will. You can buy them individually or collectively, but what we've done is we have not only this first one, but then there was a second one. It was so popular. The first one is 10 women from the Old Testament as well as 10 from the New. We did the same in the second series, 10 women from the Old, 10 in the New. I have to be honest with you, the Bible is not for the weak of heart to read. You find out when you go through that, whoa, some of those stories are pretty harrowing. And so anyway, it's been very successful. Coming out of that, we ended up also doing a Life in the Spirit seminar that we also did through a webinar, and then we did a Growth in the Spirit seminar, both of which, again, have been very good. And they range in, the Life in the Spirit is a 6-week course, seminars. The Growth in the Spirit is a 9-week. This actually is 21 weeks because you got the 10 and 10 women in the Old and the 10 in the New. But the way it's designed, people can really do it around their schedule.
Okay, well, great.
So there you go.
Well, we appreciate you being a great spokesperson for Magnificat, and have a good show.
Well,
good luck.
Thank you very much. And of course, all of this can be found on our website.
Absolutely.
Magnificat-ministry.org, right?
Got to get that in.
Got to get that in.
Thanks
that makes
lot.
it easier today. Thank you so much.
Have a good show.
Thank you.
To get a copy of the materials mentioned on this episode of EWTN Bookmark, log on to our web store, EWTNRC.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.